What's good, everybody? Today we're going to be going over the best fights in the UFC that were or are technically possible, yet will never ever happen or never happened, alright? These are fighters that were like in the same division, around the same weight class, around the same time. You know, it's fighters that like they overlapped. Maybe it's for a little bit, maybe it's for a lot. They overlapped and the fight was never made, or it can't be made for a certain reason. Let's just get right into it with the first fight, which is Islam versus Khamzat. Now you guys see the title, you guys see the thumbnail. This was the fight that inspired me to make this, this video. This is a crazy fight that we're never, ever going to see. As we know, Khamzat Chimaev, he fought at welterweight. He was fighting everybody at welterweight. I think that's where he took out Kevin Holland. That's where he took out the Leech, Zhang Liang. Fucking hell, I sound racist as hell. But this is a fight that we'd love, bro. Imagine how good this fight would be. Obviously, Khamzat has better wrestling, but it's not by much. He is the bigger guy, but again, not by much. You've seen Islam at welterweight now. He's fucking huge. Islam much better, much more well-rounded on the feet. This would definitely be an Islam fight. And if this fight got on the ground, I'm sure Islam has great submission defense. He's been in the camp with Khabib. We can talk about him later. He's been in the camp with all these guys. It would just be such an interesting matchup, and it just sucks that we wouldn't get to see it. In the hypothetical case that we were able to see it, I think I would actually take Islam by late finish. And that's a crazy thing to say, I know. Late finish, like late submission, maybe even late TKO on the feet, or maybe Khamzat doesn't get up from his stool. I know that sounds crazy, like a crazy outcome, but alright, this is coming from the guy that's picked against Khamzat in nearly I think his last 3 fights I've picked against him, and I might pick against him again against Strickland. Alright, we're gonna have to see how that video turns out. But I know that Khamzat doesn't have that gas tank in him when he's forced to go to 5 rounds, when he's forced to scramble. He was up against DDP, and he was able to make an easy job of DDP because he wasn't able to stand up. He wasn't able to get out of the crucifix, get out of side control. He wasn't able to create these scrambles, and Khamzat obviously laying in that position, landing some pitter-patter ground and pound. He was able to do his work and not get tired. Against Islam, you're not holding Islam there. I don't care how much bigger, how much stronger you think you are. You're not holding Islam in the crucifix, inside control. I doubt that Islam would even get to those positions. I'm sure Khamzat would get to Islam's back once or twice, but I think this would be a fight where the scrambles are way too much for Khamzat Chimaev, and he ends up getting gassed, which we've seen him, we've seen him get gassed in most of his fights, and it would be a late Islam finish. I could see Khamzat shooting a sloppy takedown, Islam snatching up that Dars, or even, as I said, Khamzat not getting up from the stool. It's a weird fight to predict, and unfortunately it's never going to happen. We know these guys don't like to fight each other in their camps, but it's an absolute banger fight, alright? Next fight, GSP versus Kamaru Usman. Man, oh man. Now, these guys, they weren't really as intertwined as you would like, because in the time that Kamaru Usman was coming up, GSP was in the middleweight division. But hey, Usman was getting a lot of title defenses. He could have moved up to middleweight. He could have done this, could have done that. He'd been dominant for a long time, and he is, in my opinion, the second best welterweight behind GSP. This would be a phenomenal matchup, especially with both fighters in their primes. You can't tell me this wouldn't be absolute fucking cinema, alright? Who would take this? I'd have to go with my man, the GOAT GSP. Not the GOAT, by the way. We're going to talk about that in another video. But I have to go with GSP just because of his more well-rounded skill set. Usman, amazing wrestling, but he had dog fights on the feet with Colby. 2 of them. He had dog fights on the feet. It was a good, interesting fight on the feet with Masvidal until he finished him. I think the first fight with Masvidal, right, because it was 2 fights. The second one he got finished. The first one with Masvidal was competitive on the feet. He got knocked out by Leon Edwards. Second Leon Edwards fight, he got schooled. You can tell Kamaru Usman was fighting way weaker competition. You're not going to tell me that Kamaru Usman title reign of Colby Covington twice, Masvidal twice, Gilbert Burns, you're not going to tell me that's better than GSP's record, alright? This guy, Matt Serra, on the rematch. What's his name? Matt Hughes, everyone, bro. BJ Penn. And then he went up and fought Michael Bisping. No. GSP's fought way better competition. He has a way better skill set, especially on the feet, which would matter. And he'd have the wrestling in order to negate, Kamaru Usman. I think around this time, Kamaru Usman still had some knees, but, it is what it is. I don't think Usman's taking this fight, alright? Next. Tony versus Khabib. Oh my fucking god. I forgot I put this here. I made this PowerPoint like a couple days ago. Bro, I forgot I put this fight here. Oh my god, this is so tragic to look at. Just look at these guys. Khabib all pixelated. Tony all washed and chopped. I think there's pictures from when he lost to like Patty or something. Oh, what a tragic, tragic fight. This fight would have been cinema. Yes, Khabib would have probably smashed Tony, but I'm sure if they fought, Tony would have, like, you know how Khabib's famous for never having bled in the octagon? That's one of the things that he's known for is, you know, undefeated. What was it? 21-0 was his record. Never bled inside the octagon. Barely ever lost a round. I think he lost one to like Gleison Tibau. Lost one to Conor McGregor. But just like he's known for never bleeding, I'm sure he would smash the fuck out of Tony. But Tony would make Khabib bleed. You're insane. You're sick in the head if you think Tony fucking Ferguson in his prime. Kevin Lee fight. The fucking, you know, the fight against who did he fight? Cowboy Cerrone. You're Barbosa. You're sick in the head if you think Tony Ferguson could not make Khabib bleed. Like, he'd probably be on bottom getting smashed. Just like sit up, hit like a nasty ass elbow, cut Khabib on the cheek or something. And after the post fight, he'd be all bloodied up. He'd be talking about like, yeah, I made Khabib bleed, motherfucker, whatever. Talking about like if this was some sort of moral victory for him. But yeah, man, it's tragic we never got to see this fight. I have to include this in one of the classics. Fucking hell. But yeah, give me Khabib by domination. Probably like a finish or just a crazy 5-round decision. Alright, next. Now this is a niche. This is one for my niche fans. Alexander Volkanovski versus Conor McGregor. Yes, these guys could have fought. And yes, it would be at lightweight. Now, imagine, alright. Listen. Conor McGregor becomes featherweight and lightweight champion, I believe, in 2016. 2015, 2016, right? He stays at lightweight. Imagine he takes a couple fights. He's like really inactive. He stays at lightweight, whatever. Alexander Volkanovski becomes a featherweight champ, moves up to lightweight, and these two fight. You can't see me right now, but I'm holding my hands up. Absolute cinema. This fight would be fucking sick. This would be a sick fight. Both guys in their prime. Because Volk has better cardio, has better wrestling, but Conor McGregor has significantly better striking and power. Like Conor McGregor is like the ultimate quick twitch muscle fiber athlete. Like, this guy had nasty power. We saw him knock out Jose Baldo. We saw him knock out Eddie Alvarez, fucking Chad Mendes, everyone, man. Everyone in their primes. Fucking Cowboy Cerrone. Like, you guys can't look at this fight. It looks really weird because, like, in what universe would these two fight? But they could. Their timelines genuinely did overlap. Like, imagine Volk went up, beat Islam for the belt, and then Conor McGregor came back. Obviously, he has a bunch of privilege. The UFC gives them an immediate title match. This would be a banger fight. Honestly, give me Volk. Because at this point, he wouldn't be as chinny. He hadn't been chinned by Topuria and Makhachev. You know, two very AI-generated fights. I'd say give me Volk by decision. I think it would be similar to a Khabib. No, that's crazy to say. It would be like Nate Diaz, except Conor doesn't get finished. You know what I mean? It would be like that first Nate Diaz fight. But with this guy, Conor McGregor in his prime, one of the best fighters we've ever seen, like peak for peak, he could take anyone's lights out, Volk included, all right? So it's a banger fight that could have happened, and it just didn't. It just didn't materialize, all right? Next, DDP versus Pereira. This is actually a fight that was genuinely close as fuck to happening. Because, all right, hear me out. Adesanya has had a ton of fucking UFC, like, Dana White privilege. This guy goes up, right? He has his boring ass title reign. I fuck with Adesanya now, but let me just talk my shit. He has boring ass title reign, beats a bunch of randoms, right? Not randoms, but you know what I mean. Gets beat by Pereira on the come up after Pereira gets like a title shot 3 fights into the UFC. Gets knocked out, gets an immediate title shot, like immediate rematch, which he deserves, right? And then beats Pereira, loses to Strickland, gets an immediate title shot to DDP who beats Strickland. But imagine a timeline where Pereira beats Adesanya the second fight, which it looked like it was going to happen. You know, Adesanya's already feeling the leg kicks and everything. The next title challenger would be DDP. Because in that fight where Strickland fought Adesanya, he was supposed to fight DDP. That was supposed to be... I remember he got injured, DDP got injured, and Adesanya was like, yeah, Drickus do pussies out. Come in, Strickland, whatever. Like, he was dismissing Strickland, and that's the whole ordeal, right? But he was supposed to fight DDP. Imagine that was Pereira fighting DDP instead. This is a crazy fight. probably the most underrated fight on this list. If I'm being for real, like DDP versus Pereira, the heart of Dricus du Plessis, the will. You know, this is post no surgery, so he actually has cardio. I'd say probably DDP had better cardio than Pereira at this point, especially since Pereira is coming out of middleweight. You know, weight training, making 185 is crazy now that he's gonna go up to heavyweight. That's insane, bro. It's gonna be an 80-pound weight difference. But yeah, man, Pereira has obviously better power, much cleaner striking, much better striking. The leg kicks, I'm sure, would be a problem for DDP. But it's just one of those fights where you feel like DDP would pose a real threat to Pereira, and I think this would play out a lot like the Khalil Pereira fight. And it would go to a decision. DDP would get rocked bad like several times. I can just see him wobbling, but not getting finished. You know, he has that lion spirit. He is a real blockhead. You know how it is with DDP. So yeah, man, in this fight, it would be absolutely insane. I wish we got to see this fight. I hope in some future we get to, but I know now with Pereira being like 39, he's at heavyweight, there's no way. But this is a banger matchup. I'm just sad that we never got to see it, all right? Give me Pereira by decision. Next, GSP and Khabib. This is the last fight on this slideshow that I've prepared for you guys. What a banger. What a banger fight. Now, this fight would probably never happen because they just weren't, you know, Khabib was lightweight champion. GSP was at the tail end of his welterweight reign. I just can't see this fight happening just because of how much respect Khabib and his dad, fucking hell. Alright. Khabib's dad, how much respect Khabib's dad had for GSP. And also GSP would be like, I'm not taking that fight. Like, yeah, GSP is not afraid of anybody, whatever. But he's not going to take a fight against Khabib, who's this crazy Russian wrestler. Like, he's going to take his last few fights at welterweight. He fought against, what's the guy that basically retired him? The firefighter or police officer. Oh, I forgot his name. Well, he fought his last fight at welterweight. Had his, like, pseudo-retirement because he was like, ooh, I low-key lost that fight. Then went up to middleweight and beat Michael Bisping for the middleweight belt. This fight would never happen realistically, but this is why this video is made, to think about these matchups. Like, what a banger fucking matchup. Who wins this fight? I genuinely don't know. GSP, much better striking than Khabib, alright? Yes, we can say that. Khabib was great, but he had shit-ass striking. And Khabib has just way better wrestling, better submissions. Oof, I could just see this being like a 49-46, maybe 47-46 decision going Khabib's way, honestly. And it would be a little bit boring, maybe a little bit like Islam JDM, a little bit Khamzat DDP, but with more scrambles. That's why I think GSP wins 1 or 2 rounds off of Khabib and then just gets dominated the rest of the time. I think he'd get held down. He'd be put in the worst positions for most of the fight. But yeah, man, this is an amazing fight. I wish we got to see it. There's all these fights that just make me like itch, like, oh man, what a good fight. Fucking hell, right? Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think about these fights? What's the best fight on here? Because DDP Pereira is sneaky really good. I think Alex versus Conor and DDP versus Pereira, these are really underrated fights that I wish we got to see, all right? So yeah, man, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go make dinner. All right, ciao.